I assume this is the Global Digest think tank group, and you are also our guest today.
I'm currently in Australia. As you know, that I was serving in the previous government in the Republic and before the Taliban. And I had different position both in the peace and military as well, because I was served as the Minister of Defense and also National Security, Chief Negotiator, Peace, Development. So in in practice, I have done all these different different field. But right now, I'm with the Melbourne University, Asia, with Asian Institute, and I'm basically uh, doing research in a book project that why the different peace processes in Afghanistan in our region has failed.
As you are chief of peace negotiator, which means you did negotiation during Ghani government, or you are doing right now.
No, I was doing during that time, and I actually even before that I negotiated with another party who was opposing the government arm opposition, and I successfully that completed that negotiation and brought them into the mainstream and negotiated between different political kind of leaders that they to form a unity government at that time under the President Ghani time.
Last time also I talked with one of Ghani government minister or top level officer, and also we discussed about why Afghani government was failed and what's wrong with negotiation.
The negotiation took place in Qatar, the last in 2021, and other negotiation took place in Afghanistan actually.
Right. The main thing is in Qatar, right, including U.S. and
Yeah, and
Taliban and Ghani
yeah,
government. We have enough military personnel, enough strength, and a lot of good weapons from U.S. Even you don't have to rely on anybody. It's sufficient strength, but you just simply left out, or it seemed a lot of moral issue, or a lot of and invisible things is suddenly collapsed Ghani government. So what's wrong with negotiation, or what's the military position under your government?
I think it is not that simple that it was military support. There is no doubt that there was the U.S. heavy engagement. There was the international forces in Afghanistan. There was some capabilities there, and it should not have been kind of from outset. It should not have been collapsed with that kind of a speed. But the problem in that region, it is much more complicated and deeper than that, because Afghanistan is located in a location where the geopolitical rivalries and complexity has surrounded Afghanistan. Afghanistan is surrounded with nuclear power that are competing with each other, and they have differences. And some of these countries wanted to use Afghanistan as their backyard for kind of interfering in the other country. And at the same time, uh, you know, uh, when there is when the negotiations started, actually, they not only the Taliban, but also those groups who were fighting against against the government, they were supported by several countries in the region. So I mean, it was a more broader geopolitical engagement and complexity that has contributed into the collapse of the regime in Afghanistan. And the most important part was also there was also problem within our political system, the division among the political leaders, and at the same time there was the issue of corruption and the lack of unity among the political leadership that also contributed into the accelerating the process of the collapse. But one of the one of the main point of that is mostly by the analysts, not only Afghan but also the international analysts, are analyzing very deeply, is the nature of the Doha Agreement that has eroded the legitimacy of the Afghan Republic, but at the same time give a kind of a legitimacy to an insurgency group that was labeled as a terrorist group before, and all these international were fighting against them. And immediately, with a weak agreement that was signed, it has changed the kind of the political environment and the moral dilemma has created, which was also was one of the reason of the contributing, and the way that in a haste that the international forces left before our intra-Afghan negotiation reached to some kind of a conclusion, because in the agreement there was some condition. There were four conditions that those conditions should have been met and respected, because that was the commitment. Those four conditions was that Afghanistan should not be used by any terrorist groups against any other international or U.S. or other countries. The U.S. forces would withdraw. The ceasefire should be agreed, and the intra-Afghan negotiation should reach to kind of a political settlement information of a kind of coalition government or joint government, so that the institution is not collapsed and the peace and security can be restored with bringing all the different sides into a new structure of the peace government. But unfortunately, because of the elections and the election campaign in the United States and the policies of the different kind of parties, eventually when in 2020, when President Trump has lost the election, President Biden has came to as the president. He did a review. At the end of his review, he announced that he will withdraw the U.S. troops without condition. So before we reach an agreement, the withdrawal of the forces has started. But at the same time, in the agreement, there were some clauses, and if it is public document, if you review it, it means that the Republic was not directly involved in the negotiation. So, I mean, the US negotiated without the presence of the Afghanistan government with a group that were both the Afghan government and the US government was fighting against them. And they started withdrawal in such a speed in a short period of time after they made the announcement that it was not possible to manage, because the army has lost its capability, its support, its the kind of a support that was provided or enabler that was provided to the Afghan Air Force and others. So that was, it is more just, it is not just an immediate 1 year issue. It was accumulated issue in terms of the architecture of how the Bonn Agreement was implemented, and then how gradually the violence has escalated in the country, and how the differences between the policies of the U.S. and the Afghan government has contributed into an anxiety and the lack of a kind of a joint program or a joint plan or policy that could really resulted into a peaceful settlement.
See, so you can say they did not respect the peace agreement, the four conditions. So you want to say Biden government did not inform Ghani government properly about any negotiation or
No,
any
it is It is not about that. It was before that, because when the US and the Taliban during uh, the Trump administration, they started direct negotiation. You see that when one party is excluded from the negotiation, it means that negotiation is not a complete negotiation. It is not inclusive, and it will not reflect the views of all the different parties. So for that reason, I think that was the reason. And the second reason was that to undermine the condition that was agreed under the Trump administration, but it was ignored during the Biden administration. So, I mean, it was like the erosion of the legitimacy of a government which was recognized by all these countries, but immediately they shifted the kind of what is called the attention into a new force, a new kind of a player that uh, and the impression that was or the perception that was given by the Doha Agreement to the Taliban was that yes, the U.S. has removed them from power, and now they are helping them to return back to power.
It's compared to Taliban. So you are legitimate government and you have enough military strength already supported by US, a lot of military weapon and other thing. Even they exclude that your position can be strength. Suddenly, I mean, Afghani government is very weakened, and I mean, it's so there are no, I don't know, command chain in the government or the soldier seem they are not like a soldier.
This is people are asking this question when people were not on the ground. They are very difficult for them to understand what was going on, and I'm sure that you have read the many recent books that were written by the British historian, by the Americans, and those who were involved in the in the in the issue of Afghanistan in the past 20 years. And I think they have provided very logical analysis that why that collapse happened. It is not fair to blame for everything the Americans or the international. There were all flaws in the political system in Afghanistan as well. There was, as I mentioned, the issue of the issue of kind of weaknesses within the political system. There was division among the political elites, which also created a huge problem and weakened the morale of the security forces. I know that the Afghan security forces, they fought very bravely for many years. It was not just that one last year. And if it was a political failure, it was not a military failure. When politics fail, then I think the military cannot do any cannot do their job. And secondly, as I mentioned, that when the US started withdrawal because the Afghan security forces were too dependent on the US enablers, and they immediately removed those enablers before those enablers were replaced and nationalized. So I think that was why these issues has contributed to the very speedy collapse of the situation. And then the level of violence in 2018, 19, 20, I think the Afghan government, after the bulk of the US forces withdraw from Afghanistan, I think Afghanistan has gradually regained its strength in 2018 and 17 after a very heavy fighting that took place in Afghanistan. But when this Doha agreement has signed, then again another erosion has happened, and the level of violence has peaked several times. And one should can imagine that every day between 100 to 200 Afghans were dying in the front line. So I mean, it was not a small number. It was
right,
every day, and and if you calculate the number of the civilian in both military and Taliban, sometime it reached to 200 people that every day that they lost their lives. So I mean, it was a complicated social, political, and also geopolitical situation that contributed to the collapse.
right. So you agree there is a political failure under Ghani government. So I also had last time the
It is
senior minister, senior officer from Ghani government said there was a betray, a vice president or maybe he's one of minister or something like betray to the Taliban and they are already negotiated with Taliban. So Ghani was helpless because of some of his minister or his cabinet member his people are betrayed with the Taliban, something like this? Or, I mean, you said the military is
as
not
a
really, but you are under Ghani government, you are defense minister. Why you did not coup? Because it's not military failure. So you know political failure. You can do military coup and military rule at the time.
as
Why
a
not?
At that time, I was not in the defense. If I was, maybe I would have done that.
I see.
I was in 2016 in the defense, and by that time, I told you I was chief peace negotiator, and I was in Doha when those things happened. Busy in the negotiation. Uh, that is a fair question, but. Uh, 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 if I was there, maybe I could have done something differently. In many countries, those things could happen and should happen when the politician they don't work with each other. They leave. They are divided. They are selfish, and they are not looking into the interests of the country. I think that is then the job of the security forces to defend the country, to defend the constitution, to defend the law and order. But uh, the situation has emerged as a such that yes, that division, as probably you have talked with somebody that in the government that well, that's true. Some people left. Some people were kind of uh, weakening the Ghani government because they had differences with each other. And at the same time, we should not say that only the politician was blamed. I my analysis and the papers that I wrote, I very not one-sided, but I said that the main failure was one, it was the Afghan government failure, it was the Afghan politician failure, it was the US failure, and it was the Pakistan failure. Because today, what you are seeing in Pakistan by supporting the Taliban, and now they are fighting the same people who are now in power. And at that time, we were repeatedly telling them. So it is not it was the failure of the region, and they are all now concerned about what will be the future in Afghanistan, what will be the future of the security trends that is emerging in this region, and particularly between Afghanistan and Pakistan. That is a huge backlash for Pakistan by supporting this militancy in the region.
Right.
At the ministerial level, I think uh, maybe they had the contact, but none of them have joined with the Taliban. And as I said, that there was very fragile kind of a tense situation between the political leaders. And I'm again saying that uh, we should blame the whole system, not one individual or one with. In many countries, there are treason, there are people that is penetrating into a political system to destroy the system from within. But the most important issue was that it was the collapse of the political system in the government. The political system means the government, the political elites, and those who were part of the political system, their differences, their working against each other, that contributed to this dilemma.
Right, right. It's common in Asia and many countries as you have faced in Afghanistan. Many political elite are selfish and, many authoritarian and dictatorship, corruption, and very antagonize each other uh, or over extremists or over politicizing. Nobody want to negotiate or nobody want to give up. That is common. Same in Burma as Afghanistan elite. A lot of elite make mistake and they make failure of the country. So uh, when you said about Afghan government and other previous my uh, conversation with other high level officer, Ghani was he want to be re-elected, right? He tried to be re-elected and he did not want to negotiate with opposition party or something like that. If Ghani did not re-elected and he have an adjust or negotiate with the opposition, somebody else become a new president, it won't happen. The failure in
I
Afghanistan.
think it was that there was kind of a different kind of a scenarios at that time. As I said, that different people has different perception of the issues, unless there is a third party verification that which argument is the right and the correct argument. I believe that uh, 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 President Ghani was trying uh, to negotiate with the Taliban on his term, and Taliban wanted to negotiate with their term. There was lack of enough flexibility to reach a kind of middle ground. This was one issue. Second issue was that the Afghanistan has suffered for many years from different cycle of conflict. And I think that has left a legacy in Afghanistan, as you mentioned about Burma and other countries in conflict, that there is a lot of interference from your neighboring countries as well. They are supporting
Right.
the proxies. They are supporting their different kind of what is called the different elite groups, and that is contributing into the weakening of the central political system. And that is also very much contributing. And actually, in Afghanistan, over the past 50 years, every crisis that is coming, it has a root from outside, whether it was the Cold War time between the US and the Soviet Union, which Afghanistan has turned into a battleground between their conflicting interest, or whether it was India and Pakistan, which they had their own differences and they were competing over influencing in Afghanistan into which side Afghanistan will shift. That was another dilemma, and you can also see the kind of today you can see these conflict in the Middle East, and you see that the differences between the regional countries, between Iran, the Gulf countries, the Saudi Arabia, and at the same time, Afghanistan is again, as I said, it is in the heart of Asia, and it is somewhere where Afghanistan is surrounding with all the geopolitical conflicts that is going on. the Cold War is changed to the kind of a competition between the 21st century competition between China and US. So I mean, it Afghanistan should not be seen just from the lens of what is going internally. Yes, that has a fact, that has a contribution, the weakness of the government, the weakness of the leadership, the division, and all these things. But at the same time, how that situation was created, it is created because of the influence of these different forces that is impacting a poor country like Afghanistan, and because of the years of the war, the migration, the creation of separate powers bases, that all contributed into the instability, to the extremism. When there is war, I think it is a natural thing that the extreme ideology has get momentum, whether it is uh, the right side of the ideology or the left side of the ideology. You lost the middle ground. That is even you lost the middle class. You have extreme poverty, or you have extreme few wealthy people.
Right, right. So, in terms of Pakistan, I mean, Pakistan is the main player probably related to Afghan issue. And during Ghani government, we want to say Ghani government is not satisfied with Pakistan, uh, Pakistan behavior. Pakistan did not stand up with Ghani government, as Ghani government is probably the only democratic or democracy initiated government in Afghanistan. It's going to be uh, democratization in Afghanistan, but Pakistan is supposed to support Ghani government, democracy, freedom. Do you think Pakistan messed up with Taliban's and other things? Ghani government did not satisfy with Pakistan behavior.
I think if you go to to the history of relation between Afghanistan and Pakistan, we always had the differences since the establishment of Pakistan as a country in 1947. Uh, the second issue is that I think from 1970, I think 1975, 1976, the relation between Afghanistan is kind of in any successive government in Afghanistan, it was worsened from each to the next one. And I think Pakistan has made a big mistake of promoting or supporting the non-state actors that was destabilizing Afghanistan. And over all these nearly 45 years, they always supported the non-state actors who were fighting against an established government in Afghanistan. And even as I mentioned that they have supported the Taliban to come to power, and today they are bombing their position. Why?
So Pakistan support Taliban. Now Taliban become government. Also, Pakistan is not going well
Happy
with
with them.
Taliban. So
Yeah.
again, so any
So
government,
it means
it
it
doesn't
means that the
matter.
Pakistan has a strategy, and their strategy is called the strategic depth in Afghanistan. And they want that strategic depth that any government in Afghanistan, it should be somehow a friendly government to Pakistan, and Pakistan should be, in a way, controlling its foreign policy. If it's not, then it will destabilize it. And the reason is of its competition with India. They feel if any government in Afghanistan establish a close relation with India, then the Pakistan is against that. The time when the India was against the Taliban, uh, Pakistan was supporting them. And now when the Taliban has established relation with India, Pakistan is against them.
So it's not a clear position. So Pakistanis always support whoever against India.
Yeah, they they want Afghanistan a weak and fragile government so that they are not creating kind of a strong and powerful government in Afghanistan. They feel that is against their national interests. So I don't know why they have that kind of a mentality that always they think about that. But I believe that a stable and prosperous Afghanistan is much more in the interest of Pakistan, and a stable Pakistan is in the
But
interest of Afghanistan. But it is about the politician that they have to come to understand that